When you spend a Saturday scrolling through endless garage organizer listings, you start to notice a pattern. The pictures look sleek, the dimensions promise enough room for every tool, and the reviews are either glowing or completely missing. Then you order, you get the box, and the first thing you realize is that the cabinets are either too shallow for your larger power tools or the doors don't line up with the wall studs the way the description implied. That frustration is exactly why I wanted to break down the NewAge Products Bold Series Black 10-piece set before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what a garage like yours actually needs. Most of us aren't looking for a showroom. We need sturdy places to stash a lawn mower, a workbench, and a handful of bins without constantly hunting for a free spot on the floor. The Bold series promises 10 pieces, a mix of tall cabinets, a low utility unit, and a workbench-style top with a bamboo work surface. What that translates to in a real house is the ability to line the entire length of a standard two-car garage, keeping everything off the concrete and out of the way of traffic. Who should consider this set? If you're a DIY enthusiast who already has a wall already anchored for storage, if you like the idea of a uniform look, black frames with a powder coat finish and bamboo tops that don't show oil stains at a glance, this is a solid candidate. The height-adjustable steel shelves are a nice touch, because you can move a shelf up a few inches to make room for a 24-inch drill case or drop it down for a stack of paint cans. The lockable doors also matter if you have kids or just don't want your pricey tools accessible to every passerby. Who should skip it? If you live in a rented space where you can't bolt cabinets to the studs, the fixed cabinet requirement could be a deal-breaker. The set is also on the heavier side. The steel frames and 24-gauge doors mean you'll need a helper to lift the taller units into place, and the overall weight could be overkill if you only need a few small bins for gardening supplies. Finally, if your garage floor isn't level, those adjustable shelves won't compensate for a sloping base, so you'll still end up with doors that swing open or close unevenly. Now let's dive into the practical strengths that actually matter once the boxes are ripped open. The first thing you'll notice is the powder coat finish on the black steel. It's not just a glossy look, it resists the typical garage grime, rust, and the occasional splash of oil from a car. In my own garage, where I store a chainsaw and a couple of oil drums, the surface has stayed free of orange-tinted rust for months, even after a rainy day when the garage door was slightly ajar. The bamboo worktops are another pragmatic win. Bamboo is naturally resistant to stains, so when you spill a bucket of motor oil or a splash of paint, it wipes clean without the darkening you'd see on a painted wood surface. I tested that by setting a small can of motor oil on the countertop for a minute, wiping it with a damp rag, and the finish looked unchanged. Adjustability is where the set tries to earn its bold name. The tall cabinets come with 3 shelf positions, each anchored by pre-drilled holes. In practice, I moved one shelf down to fit a 30-inch electric pressure washer, then raised the next shelf to store a stack of 10-gallon buckets. The process is straightforward, a simple screwdriver and the included hardware do the job. Because the shelves are steel, they hold up to the advertised total weight capacity without bowing, which is reassuring when you're loading a heavy tool chest or a box of drywall screws. On the flip side, there are some hidden trade-offs. The doors are fully lockable, which sounds great until you realize the lock mechanism is a basic latch rather than a keyed lock. If you're looking for a high-security solution, you'll need to bolt a separate lock onto the aluminum handle, which adds an extra step and a small purchase. Also, while the aluminum handles feel solid, they're not ergonomically contoured. Opening a cabinet after a long day of work can feel a bit stiff, especially if your hands are greasy. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you value smooth, one-handed operation. Installation is where the Bold series can trip up newcomers. The manuals are clear enough, but they assume you have a drill, a level, and at least a basic understanding of stud placement. The fixed cabinets need to be secured to the wall, which means finding studs, pre-drilling, and using lag bolts. If your garage studs are spaced at 24 inches instead of the usual 16, you'll have to adjust the mounting points, which can be a bit of a puzzle. I found it helpful to have a friend hold the cabinet while I